on, everyone? It is another episode of One on One with Jon Alba. Really appreciate all the support that you guys have sent our way as we've rolled out this one-on-one series. Josh Alexander, the Impact World Champion for a hot second, as we found out just a couple weeks ago. We had Daniel Garcia, who quite frankly gave me one of my favorite pro wrestling interviews that I've ever done. And then Danny Rivera, Danny Limelight from MLW in New Japan, who was so inspirational and quite frankly had me wanting to run through a wall. Three awesome guests getting us started here on One-on-One, which drops every single Thursday on adfreeshows.com. Early access for subscribers, and then for everyone on Saturday afternoon. But you want that early access, so make sure you're signing up adfreeshows.com and you will get that early access. And you're going to want that early access for this week's episode because we're bringing the women in this week. And I'm very excited to introduce you all at this time to my special guest on One-on-One this week. Her name is Ashley Vox. She is a jack of all trades on the independent wrestling scene and has found her way to your television sets across multiple promotions. And now she's going one-on-one with me, not for the first time either, but for the first time on this program, as a matter of fact. Ashley, how are you tonight?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me, even though I kind of embarrassed you at Limitless.
Okay, so I was going to wait to reveal that, but I guess we can just reveal that right off the bat. So Ashley and I have worked on the independents together in the past, especially in Limitless Wrestling, where it's not just a matter of us working together. We wrestled a match against each other. Just this past September. It was the most gratifying and horrifying night of my life. And quite frankly, I can't believe I asked you to be on this show. But you guys, you and your team there, consisting of Davey N, Becca, and your sister Delmi XO, defeated my team, which consisted of myself and my boys in Prestigious. It was awful. And I highly recommend nobody goes to IWTV to watch it on the Euphoria event. But how'd I do in my in-ring debut, Ashley? I guess you can tell our ad-free show subscribers and our general listening audience. Give us the real scouting report here.
First of all, how do you feel? Like, are you sore? Anything broken? Like,
it hurt a lot. The Davey in your life, which is a running baseball slide into the turnbuckle post. Someone sent me a still frame of your reaction to it, which you took joy in seeing me get hurt. So again, I don't know why I asked you to be on this program, but it was we had a really fun time building that program over the course of almost a calendar year, which was a lot of fun. It's great when you can do long form storytelling on the independent scene. Do you see that across some of the promotions that you work in often, or is that kind of an outlier in some?
It's hard. I feel like the most storytelling that goes far and that long is usually at Limitless. I feel like I don't really get a lot of story time, especially like a build-up like that. I love Limitless and how they like run shows like that. Like they always want to tell a story, and it means so much more, you know.
Well, we talk about the why a lot on this show, and we're going to really get into that with you. And I'm very excited too, because you have made yourself a hot commodity in the pro wrestling scene over the course of the past few years throughout your work on the New England wrestling scene, especially. But you've become a household name recently working in MLW, Ring of Honor, which is something we need to talk about. And that's what I want to actually start with. You were on the Women's Division Wednesday taping at the beginning of October with Chelsea Green. And you guys had a match. It was big league presentation. And then we get the news at the end of October that Ring of Honor is more or less closing shop and maybe doing a soft relaunch in April. What's your reaction to that news, having had a chance to work there?
It was just like everyone else's reaction. I was completely shocked about it. But, you know, like, COVID took a big toll on, you know, a lot of companies, and it's kind of hard to like, you know, pay for talent when you don't really have an audience. Like, you know, you're trying to be safe. And it sucks. Like, I feel bad for everyone that, you know, was under contract. Like that was their life. That was their jobs. So I can't complain too much because I wasn't under contract, but I'm just gonna cherish the moments that I got to work with Maria Canales and like the women there and the new women's division that they were building up. It was awesome, dude. Like it was awesome to see just so many new and like talented female wrestlers. Great locker room. It really motivated me, and it's sad to see that there is a pause, but they're coming back what in April, so it's not too far off.
When you have a setback like this, where women's wrestling especially has come so far in such a short period of time, and it gets this new platform with Ring of Honor expanding, and then it has to take a big giant step back. How do you as a female performer overcome situations like that? Because you have been someone who's been really vocal about becoming an example for women's wrestling on the independent scene, and then as we talked about with some of these major promotions.
I feel like everything just happens for a reason. I got a small little taste of, what they were building, and I truly believe that they're going to come back bigger and stronger than ever. It's a pause. It sucks, but the year's almost ending and April's right around the corner. It's only going to make, everyone else hungry and work harder for when Ring of Honor does come back. Everyone's just going to, blow it out of the water. What they're doing is awesome. And I hope they continue having like agents like Maria Canales and, helping the women's division there. Cause from like the little bit that I've seen, she's incredible and easy to talk to. And she really, truly loves every single female worker there, which is awesome. And you rarely see.
So overall, you had a positive working experience with Ring of Honor?
Yeah, for sure. Loved it.
Were you given any indication that something might be coming to a pause, or was that just something that took you by surprise as it did everyone?
Took me by surprise. Yeah. Yeah.
It's unfortunate because a lot of very talented people then in turn lose places to work, but it was certainly a highlight for year 2021, which has been full of highlights, especially coming out of the pandemic, which is really cool. And just in a couple of weeks, Ashley, you're about to celebrate 7 years in professional wrestling, which is
Has it been 7 years?
7 years. November 2020, no, November 2014, rather, you made your debut in pro wrestling, hailing out of the Ocean State, Providence, Rhode Island, of course. How much do you lean on your roots as a pro wrestler? Because you are announced as hailing from the Ocean State. You're part of a tag team with your sister Delmi Exo, the Sea Stars. There's obviously homage. So where does that come from?
I am from the Ocean State. Rhode Island's just dear to my heart. Born and raised. So I don't know. I'm also like a water sign. So I'm
What
so
sign are you?
attractive. Huh?
What sign are you?
Scorpio.
Okay.
So I'm just attracted to ocean stuff, and I live in the Ocean State. And Delmi came up with the tag team name, Sea Stars. So yeah. And then Real Catch just came as the years went by and stuff like that.
That's what I was about to say. You're the Real Catch, Ashley Vox. So I want to know more about that, because for those who haven't seen Ashley's work, she quite literally catches her opponents. For those of you watching video right now, she catches her opponents by hooking them with her finger. I've seen you hook a lot of prominent people. I've seen you hook MJF, Anthony Green. I have been fortunate to avoid getting hooked by you, and I hope not to be.
You're next, man.
No, please, I'm good. Where does that inspiration come from? You just said it developed over the years. So can you trace that character development back anywhere?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Aquaman, and
Okay.
he actually I read a lot of his comic books, and in one of them he sacrifices cutting his hand off to save his son. So he basically has a hook as a hand, and I thought that was pretty cool. I always used to do like an invisible fishing rod, which was super hokey, but we all got to start somewhere. So eventually I was just like, what if I just hook people, and make it really quick so it's not like I don't, get disqualified. So yeah, I feel like Aquaman was my inspiration for that.
We see a lot of crossover between comics and pro wrestling. Why do you think that is? I talked to so many wrestlers who draw inspiration from that. Johnny Gargano, for his takeover entrances, always used to reference comic book characters. For you, why is there a collaboration there?
It's hard to find heroes, and I feel like when you read a comic book, you get drawn into the characters and the heroes, and you get to see like their background and their stories and why they became like, how did Aquaman become Aquaman, and like how Batman became Batman. And it's pretty inspiring. It's a lot of storytelling and build up, and a lot of us can relate to some of these characters. In reading comic books, it's kind of like an escape. So I don't know. I was just more drawn to Aquaman. I felt like him and I were pretty similar. Uh, Obviously the blonde hair, but yeah, I watch Marvel and I get inspired by watching superheroes like fight evil. Fight off the bad guys, and you know, all their like unique powers that they have. It's pretty cool. So it's easy to like take that and kind of throw it into wrestling, because wrestling, you're telling a story and you get to dress up and you get to be your own superhero. And there's kids in the audience that they look up to you, or like they go up to you during like intermission, and you kind of inspire people in a way. And I feel like superheroes and reading comic books and watching superhero movies, wrestlers get easily drawn and inspired as well.
Well, part of one on one is we like to delve into that why of why are you here in the first place? Why do you connect with pro wrestling? And based on your description there, it seems like there's almost a degree of empathy in your path to relating with people who are overcoming struggles and overcoming adversity and being the good guy. How does that translate to your personal story and how you connected with pro wrestling to start?
So I started watching it with my dad growing up, and I don't know, I always thought it was like badass and like cool. And I was really drawn into like the wrestlers like back then, like Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, and Roddy Piper. Um, I don't know, it was just cool to me, and I always wanted to try to wrestle, but I never did. Um, Seeing AJ Lee, where we're both very similar, height, weight, um, especially like the female wrestlers that they had back in the day was like completely different. Blonde, tall, big boobs. I was just like, oh, I don't have any of that. But AJ Lee, I was like so drawn to her because I was like, we're so similar, and like she's in WWE. If she can do it, then damn, like I need to like start training, and I feel like I could do it. So AJ Lee inspired me to like jump into like actually wrestling.
And that pretty much lines up because, as we said before, you debuted in November of 2014. So it would have been right around that time that AJ was starting to wrap up her run in WWE. So did you identify immediately with being that, because you just talked about it with the whole comic book stuff, being that superhero kind of persona where you want to be the good guy? Because very rarely do you come across pro wrestlers that are like, I want to be a babyface. Everybody wants to be a cool heel, but
Yeah.
for the most part that I've seen you work, you've been a babyface, and that's not an easy thing to do.
No. I actually started off as a heel for like maybe almost 2 years, maybe a year and a half. It was just like me being a heel. And around that time, there wasn't a lot of female wrestlers in the New England area. So most of the time, it was like Delmy and I wrestling each other, and Delmy was the baby face, and I was the heel. I feel like being a heel was fun though, because I got to be silly and hokey and like the goofball heel. Like no one can really take me serious. Like it was just weird for me to be like, oh, I'm actually evil, you know. Um, but I still did like a kind of like an Aquaman gimmick. It was just silly and goofy.
It's kind of a journey, right? And you find yourself along the way. So when did you start to really find out who Ashley Vox was? And I'll build off of that. Who is Ashley Vox?
I don't know. Where is she? I don't know who she is. No, I think I finally started putting together the real catch Ashley Vox 3 years ago. I went through like some breakup, and then I just started going on a bunch of dates, and uh, a girl had said, "You're a real catch," and that kind of stuck in my head. It was just like, huh, that sounds really cool. Real catch. Maybe I should do something with this. And then, I spelled the real as in like a fishing line. And then I just went with it. I just said, fuck it. Let me see what happens. And then I went from wearing tights to trunks. I changed my look and I was just going along with it. And because of that change, it helped me kind of like spread my wings and like, travel a lot more. I was able to do Shimmer. I was able to do Limitless, Beyond, and just so many, like I was traveling everywhere because I don't know, I just figured it out and just tried something different, something new. And I stuck to being a baby face rather than a silly, goofy heel, which I feel like I just work better as a baby face. Like being a heel is just not me.
It's just better set for some other people.
Yeah, right.
No, listen, and I think there's certainly a point to be made with everything you just said, because now you're getting to be that superhero, that comic book character, the ultimate good girl who is standing up against evil and against what's wrong. How
Yeah, like you.
gratifying, right? Like me, right? How gratifying is that for you to be able to live that out and pay that forward in the same way that some of those characters did for you?
Um, I think it's awesome, and most importantly, I feel like I'm just having more fun, and that's more important to me. And it's pretty awesome to like during intermission and after shows and like on Twitter, like there's a lot of people that are, uh, love Sea Stars and believe in us, and I think that's awesome. Like, it's pretty crazy. So.
And that's what I'm really excited to talk with you about now. Team Sea Stars. It's you and your sister Delmy Exo. First off, as we get into kind of unraveling where this team came from, Delmy started wrestling after you, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So what was her inspiration to start wrestling, and when did it click that, hey, we could be a tag team here together and try to make something of this?
Well, as the older sibling, I was always in charge of what we would watch. I was in charge of the remote. So to me, it was like we're watching wrestling, whether you like it or not. But she loved it too. And we would always play like wrestling, video games, like the old school WWF games and WCW games. And we would watch like every pay-per-view. And we would wrestle in the living room. Like we were troublemakers. We would just jump around in the living room. And mind you, we're 7 years apart. So
Which is significant. That's not insignificant by any means.
yeah. And it's like, she's my best friend. And we just, I don't know, we were just easy to get along with, and we love each other and all that. So I feel like she got inspired by like, watching it, and like we had that bond together to watch wrestling. And then my first day of training, she came along because she wanted to, support me and watch. And the trainer at the time had asked who's here to like, get in the ring and wrestle and learn. And I stood up and I was like, oh, like May. And then she stood up and I was like what? I was like, the heck? I had no idea that she was going to do that, but she did. So it was cool that we got to train together. And the reason or the way how we became a tag team was, we were just tired of wrestling each other, and we always wanted to, be kind of like the Hardy Boys, like, or the Young Bucks. It was just like, or the American Wolves, like they were a cool tag team, like when we were watching independent. So we wanted to be like them. Like we were like, let's be like the Young Bucks, So
And we delve into that a lot here, and especially on Conrad Thompson's network here, that's so based in nostalgia. You just mentioned the Hardys, the Young Bucks. Is there anyone else that you guys have drawn inspiration off of it that you can think of? You said the Wolves, but maybe individuals as well?
individuals, definitely Eddie Guerrero was because we're both like half Mexican, so we were drawn to him, and he was an awesome wrestler, of course. How could you not? And Domi loves Triple H, like loves Triple H. So yeah.
It's cool because I'll admit the first time that I heard of you guys, I was unaware that you were even sisters. And seeing the dynamic between you two has been really fun to watch evolve. And I can't stress enough anyone who's listening to this or watching this right now, go look up some of what the Sea Stars have done in Impact. They were part of the women's tag tournament, and you've had some other opportunities with some major promotions coming into MLW recently as well. Very exciting stuff. What kind of magic do you guys make in the ring together? Because I just have to imagine that has to feel so special every time that you guys are in there together.
Um, it's nice because we know each other, and we can lean on each other. So like sometimes like I'm just, tired and I can't really like think and be creative sometimes when we call a match. It could be a lot, but Delmy would always like look at me and be like, why don't you do that thing that you do, or like this, or why don't you switch this around? And just like, she just knows me, and she just like, she helps me out. She's like a good partner. And we never really argue, which is great. We'll have like a small disagreement or be like, what if we change this? But we never like argue. We've seen that with other tag team partners where they'll like bicker with each other, and we would just like look at each other and be like, like, I'm glad you're my partner. But yeah, it's really nice to have Domi as my partner.
Is there some instinctual habits just built in between you where like you know exactly what she's going to be doing and she knows what you're going to be doing at all?
Yeah. When like sometimes she'll call her shine or her comeback, and it's like, oh, I already know what she's gonna do. So
Set you up, makes it nice and easy. Well,
yeah.
you're a women's tag team right now, and we're seeing women's tag team wrestling kind of take off a little bit. Where do you think that comes from? Is it seeing other traditional men's tag team wrestling and saying we can do this better? And where did it come from for you guys? What is the point of you guys teaming together rather than trying to blaze your own individual paths?
Yeah, I noticed women's tag teams really growing, which is it's awesome. I think as the years go by, there's always going to be like new things, new stuff that people are going to be inspired or try to, make history and break barriers and stuff. For us, like we've done single matches. I've done my, my own show. She's done her own shows, like separate car rides, separate plane rides. Um, like having singles matches is fun and all, but to me, I just personally love tag team wrestling a lot more. Because I love wrestling with Domi and I love traveling with her, and she's like my better half, and it can be complicated calling a tag match compared to a singles match, but I do have a lot more fun in tag wrestling.
Why is that? Is there a dynamic? And you can feel free to take us a little inside baseball here. Is there a dynamic to tag team wrestling that makes it more enjoyable for a performer or makes it any different than being on your own as a single star?
Yeah, there's not a lot of like no one really well before no one really talked about tag team wrestling, and tag team wrestling really wasn't like that big, and now it is getting big. Now people are like, oh, tag team wrestling. And Domi did her promotion with Rip called Grind, and the main event was a tag team match. So I'm just more drawn into tag team wrestling, and I want to see how far tag team wrestling like gets.
Let me ask you this because you've had a chance to compete for AEW, MLW, Ring of Honor, as we've been saying here. But it seems like on the national stage, those who are familiar with you identify you with the Sea Stars. Can you go further as a niche women's tag team than as another really good women's single wrestler in today's wrestling climate?
Uh, for me, I feel like I just do better in tag team. I feel like to me, Sea Stars means so much more than just Ashley Vox, To me, that's like the goal and like my inspirations. Like I feel like we can go further with our tag team.
It's funny because I've had these conversations with some of our past guests here on one and with other wrestlers in general, and everything comes down to you need to make yourself unique. You need to find a niche. Does Sea Stars make Ashley Vox more unique, or is it just
Yeah,
flash in the pan?
because I mean it was rare, but I'm seeing it a lot now. But I feel like besides the Bella twins, like we were a sister tag team. So that was like unique, and yeah.
You have identified yourself as a really important figure in women's wrestling. You and your sister cracked the PWI top 150 for women. So congratulations to both of you on
Thank
that.
you.
A very cool accomplishment. I'm going to ask you to be critical of women's wrestling for a second, though. What can be better about presentation of women's wrestling in today's wrestling climate? Whether it's company specific or on a general point, what can be done better to improve the landscape of women's wrestling?
I would say give women time in matches, because that's always been an issue. And don't make them go second to last, after the crowd is tired and, they've watched the most craziest flips in the entire world. Like, don't do that. Because that's one of the things that just like not only irritates me, but a lot of the women. So I find that very like annoying that there can be companies where they are bringing up women's division and they're caring about it, and they're like, oh, like we want to build a women's division, like we care and all this, but then you get there and they don't give you the time that you should need to tell a story in the ring. So everything's rushed, or they cut your time like last second, uh and then they put you almost dead last. I think if people actually really care, I think they should like not post it on social media and act like they care, but come on, it's not right. I think
Is
that's my irritation.
is there a company in particular that you feel is getting women's wrestling mostly right now, or kind of leading a path in that sense?
uh that is doing right for sure. It was Ring of Honor. They were doing great. They were really doing great. But it's a small pause. So I can't wait to see what they continue to do, because you can tell Maria Kanellis really cared. And they changed everything. Shimmer has always been awesome, has always given every female talent time. Uh, I know that it's just a woman's locker room, but even like at the collective, they just care for their women, so they would always give them time and make them be creative and cut promos, which is awesome.
Well, you mentioned Ring of Honor. We talked about you recently debuting in MLW, had a match with Willow Nightingale, and you were on AEW Dark this past year during the pandemic era. How much of a challenge was that for you, Ashley? Because this is really some of your first TV exposure. How much of a challenge was it for you adopting to TV style, and you're still currently in that endeavor?
It was pretty insane. It was pretty insane. I've never, especially like during the pandemic, like if there was a real crowd, I don't know how I would react. I think my heart would be just beating really fast. Props to everyone who can do that. But no, it was a great experience being at AEW early this year. Just opened my eyes, where I went on a workout plan, a meal plan. I drank only once a week, like I was fully focused, and I got down to like my body fat percentage goal, and that's how much it inspired me. And doing MLW, Ring of Honor, Impact earlier, late last year. It was fun. It was awesome. It definitely inspired me a lot, and it woke me up, especially after like quarantine for months. It was just like, got to get back into wrestling.
And it's allowing you to be a little more of your authentic self as you're continuing to develop into your own. I was reading social media, and if you go back, and I highly encourage anyone to do this, go find Ashley's match against Chelsea Green on the Women Wednesdays on Ring of Honor. Your entrance, you hooked the camera, like,
Oh yeah.
caught it with a fishing rod, and you started moving it around. And if I'm not mistaken, that was an idea that you've had in your head for a long time. Where did that come from?
I used to do the invisible fishing rod, being all silly and hokey when I first started. And I didn't want to like give up that idea, but I knew that I didn't want to throw it in a match, because I didn't want people to be like, what is she doing? Yeah, so I actually went to school and got a film certificate,
Oh,
and I've had a couple film jobs. I've done editing and all that, and I would always tell Delmy the idea, and she'd be like, "Oh yeah, whatever." And I think I finally used it at I've used it at Ring of Honor. Like, I think I wrestled Brandy like forever ago, and I used it there. And then at AEW, I went to Dustin and I told him my idea, and he loved it, and the camera crew loved it, and we got to mess with the like the big crane camera. And then we got to use it, me and Delmy, at Impact, and then again when I had Ring of Honor. So yeah, I don't know. I love how it looks. I love how it comes out, and I think it just means a lot more for the real Catch and Sea Stars. And I just wanted to have a unique, different entrance.
it's so fascinating that you mentioned that you have a film background, because I think that emphasizes your earlier point about storytelling and the importance of storytelling. On the independent scene, we see, I got hit this spot, and you're gonna bang, 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 hit me off here, boom, boom. Does your background influence that importance of storytelling when you're putting together matches or the presentation of your matches, and accentuate that in any way?
Yeah. I always try to stick to how can I tease my submission, and I'm smaller than most of the girls, so I always play my size. And obviously I'm not gonna pick up anyone, but I always go for that storytelling of like, I'm smaller, you're bigger, let's build up to this kind of uh cat and mouse chase. So, and whatever agents tell me, we build off of that. So storytelling's really important for sure.
I think that's
Otherwise you're just throwing spots.
which is half of indie wrestling. Let me tell you. I mean, that really is, like, the way that I just described it, and you can attest to this. It's okay. You're going to come at me, bang, bang, bang. You're going to, except they use much more explicit language, and there's a pop, and I mean, that's how a lot of matches are put together.
Maybe a super kick or two.
It's so funny because I had a blast putting together my match with you guys, and I really appreciate it. And if you go watch the match back, this is not a plug. I promise it's not a plug or anything. But if you do go back and watch the match, you can see the level of storytelling that is put into that match. And it took an effort from everyone involved. So I appreciated the efforts that you guys put into that. It meant a lot to me as well. So, I mean, I still don't forgive you for kicking me in the face, but that's besides the point. One of you guys, this is a shoot, I'm shooing here, guys, on One-on-One with Jon Alba on adfreeshows.com. One of you guys kicked my Emmy Award winning face like stiff. Like I got, one of you guys got some color on my lip. I was not too happy about it. I don't know who it was. I'm not here to throw blame, Ashley, but
I feel like you just bit your lip.
You think I like self-bladed? Like I opened myself up the hard way, just biting down. No, that's not what happened. One of you guys caught me in the mouth, and it's okay. I'll forgive you. I just finished doing Invisalign, so my teeth are good. And
nice. Damn it.
Yeah. Try next time, sweetie. But it's been a lot of fun watching your career develop over the past few years, especially since I first started watching you. And one thing that you've really become almost synonymous with, as far as some of the individuals I've spoken with, and I've seen it on your social media, and it's not something that you shy away from, is your presence in the LGBTQ community with pro wrestling. And that's something that I think has been embraced in pro wrestling a lot more in recent years. Why do you think that is something that has been pushed to the forefront and kind of, like I said, embraced by the general audience and other performers?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I remember when I was in middle school, and like coming out was like pretty crazy, like pretty tough. Like it took a lot for me to be like, hey, to my best friends at the time. And now it's like, I don't know. I think wrestling's a great community, and I think we can all relate somehow. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about wrestlers that we have something that's just relatable, where we feel comfortable. And it's awesome to see that this year and last year, like so many people have been able to come out, and most of it's been like, a lot of good positive feedback and support. And that wasn't the case like when I was growing up, but it's awesome how things have changed. And of course you still have people that are gonna be, assholes and all that. But it's 2021. People, whether it's like a hateful thing, I think people should just be happy for who they are and for who they love. And that's more important than like trying to wake up every day and worry about if this person hates me and why and how can I change that, because that doesn't matter. It should be like, as long as you're happy, whether whoever you are and whoever you love.
There are a lot of fans LGBTQ plus fans who will see people like you and probably relate to you or see a role model in you. How do you wear that badge of honor and try to stand up tall in that community and be a role model?
I think um I think I'm just, trying to be positive. I think for me, it took me to the age of 25 to fully come out. I was like living a double life, and my parents were super religious, and it was really hard for me to like fully come out. And for me, my biggest thing that I try to say on social media for anyone who's struggling to try to come out is just do what makes you happy and just be yourself, and don't worry about what other people say or think about you. Self-love is the best love, and your happiness is more important than trying to please the world, who is going to critique you or break you down in any way. So I just don't want anyone to like live a double life and or try to hide or try to change who they really are. So that's what I try to do. And for whoever hears this, just love yourself. That's more important.
How did that struggle growing up shape who you ultimately became today, if it was something that was so hard for you to deal with?
I stopped caring. I stopped trying to worry so much. I stopped going to church. Because religion at the time, and I don't know how it is now, but it wasn't easy. It was a lot of like, let's, pray the gay out of you. Like it was bad. But I tried to have them cure me, but it doesn't work. Like I was really unhappy. And I'm not trying to shit on religion. I'm just saying like that was my experience. And I just said, you know what? Like I tried really hard. I tried to have boyfriends. I tried to hold their hands and just felt nothing. And I just stopped trying to please, everyone. And then, my parents came around, and it all worked out. I mean, everything happens for a reason. We go through stuff like struggles in life, and it just, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So,
Well, I think my personal belief is that the biggest way you can make a contribution to society is to be your most authentic self. And it seems like that's something that you've really become comfortable with in recent years. How has that changed your outlook on life, and how have you felt in these past few years since you came to terms with that?
I feel awesome. I feel free. I feel like I could just be myself fully. Uh, I feel like that's how I also related to like superheroes, where they lived a double life. Um, but now it's just like, everyone knows who I am as a person, and I feel good. Like I wake up and I'm just like, I'm me, and I don't have to worry anymore or try to hide.
I think that is an awesome story for people to take away about you. One of my favorite women's wrestlers, and one of my favorite wrestlers that I've had a chance to work with. I know I'm breaking that fourth wall there, but I really have just absolutely loved watching Ashley Vox these past few years since I was first introduced to her work. And I hope that all of you guys get a chance to check out her work now, because she's everywhere. As I said, in MLW, getting that women's division off the ground right now, had the work with Ring of Honor, had the work with Impact, had the work with AEW. It's not hard to find what this chick is doing, and she is taking names and kicking ass in the process, and drinking a whole lot of beer too. You're big in the brew scene. Any recommendations for some of our listeners, our top guys and top gals? Any types of pours that they should be checking out here as we wrap things up?
Yeah, seltzers aren't good.
Okay, so you're out on Trulies, you're out on the Bud Light seltzers, you're out on that.
Yeah.
Why not? Why are you out on that?
It's it's not good. It's just not good. If you're going to if you're going to try to treat yourself, go all out, get a double IPA. It is phenomenal.
It's so funny because, like, I don't know if you guys can tell from watching Ashley right now, or if you're just listening to the audio, you obviously can't, but she's tiny, petite, and yet I've seen you drink, and you're kind of like a folklore on social media that you're just this hoss that can just drink craft beer and everything. You're a beast, man. You're an absolute beast, and I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, I've been told and I've been known that I can, drink a lot, and I've heard people like tell me like, Ashley, you're a tank for like, you're so small. Like, how do you do this? But I don't know, like, yeah, the brewing industry, I work at Trillium, and it's the best. Like I get to work with awesome people, and I get to, be around beer all the time, and like do sensory, and like smell the beer, and like taste it, and fail it or pass it. It's awesome. I'm learning so much. Can't wait to make my own beer one day.
So I was going to ask, so what kind of beer would Ashley Vox be?
I would start off. It's so hard. I feel like an IPA.
You're an IPA.
I'm an IPA.
And I'm a seltzer. I imagine.
Yeah, you're a seltzer.
Well, as we tape this, I'm like having chronic acid reflux. I got like my pills over here and everything. I got water. So I'm not even going to try to take you down, but I will go and watch some more of your matches because I love watching you perform, Ashley. You're an incredibly talented professional wrestler who's making an impact in, no pun intended, but making an impact in representation in pro wrestling from both the women's side and the LGBTQ plus side. And I just think that's amazing. And I hope that our listeners and viewers on ad-free shows picked up something from your journey. Is there anything else you'd like to share with them, or where they can follow you, or what you'd like them to take away from your journey?
Yeah. So I'll tell you my crazy schedule for this week. Delmy and I have Shimmer on Sunday for Halloween. My birthday is on Monday, so I'll be at the
Happy
airport.
Birthday.
Thank you. We both have Ring of Honor tapings Tuesday and Wednesday, and Beyond on Thursday, and then MLW on Saturday. So it's gonna be a crazy week, and I look forward to it all.
No other way you'd have it.
Yeah, right. And once that's all done, I'm gonna have a nice few donuts on Sunday after MLW as a cheat meal. But on social media, I believe for Instagram and Twitter, it is Real Catch AV, if you want to follow me.
Now, I want to finish us up here by bringing up the newest addition to your family, because I've seen it on social media. And do we have him with you right now currently?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, let's show our viewers the newest addition to your family, because this is the stuff you pay for, guys, on adfreeshows.com. And one-on-one with Jon Alba. Who is this that we're looking at right now? And this is why you guys need to get the video if you're not watching the video.
This is my son. His name is Ziggy Stardust, based off of David Bowie's album, which is one of my favorite albums. And he's only 11 weeks. He is so cute and so precious, and literally does not let me sleep at night. He is so small. He weighs 12 pounds and he hogs the whole bed, and I'm like hanging off the bed. And he will wake up an hour or two before my alarm goes off. And I always wake up either at 4 or 5 in the morning. And when he wakes me up before my alarm, I'm just like, well, time to get up and walk you and start my day.
And he's a French bulldog, is that?
French bulldog, yeah. A blue one.
Incredible.
Gray.
Well, I look forward to him eventually having his own Instagram account, and I'm sure you'll be sharing updates on that. So everyone, make sure you check out Ziggy, because he's going to be worth your time. Maybe you can incorporate him into the act, the pro
Yeah.
wrestling act.
Yeah, right.
Be a
Or
fun
maybe he
way.
can come out for my entrances.
Hey, I'd be down with it. I even once sang your entrance theme, and that was a lot of fun too. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone knows if you follow Jon Alba on social media, he's a bit of a ham. So it's definitely something to check out. There's video of it. But Ashley Vox, I'm so grateful for you going one-on-one with me here on ad-free shows, and I'm so appreciative of your time. And I cannot wait to see what you have in store in the future, because big and bright things are ahead for the chick from the Ocean State and her sister Delmi XO as well, who we'll have to get on one-on-one as well, because I think there's some good. We have to make sure you're not lying about some of your stories that you were telling there. So
Yeah, right.
we'll fact check you. So thank you, Ashley, for joining me here on this edition of One-on-One. And guys, don't forget, you head over to adfreeshows.com, you subscribe, you get this video, this audio access early. It's worth it alone. We've had Josh Alexander, Daniel Garcia, Danny Rivera, Danny Limelight, and now the real catch, Ashley Vox. And we will catch you guys next time here on One-on-One with Jon Alba.